Welcome to part 4 of Show E. Make sure you watch the other sections as there is a common theme this week. This week on Forward Looking, we examine the practical strategy for foreign firms in China. Sell in China, build in China, or leave. So there's plenty of talk about supply chain distribution and moving away from China, manufacturing in China versus selling in China. You know, there's LG and there's Adidas and Nike, and we keep hearing of plants closing and moving in Mexico and Vietnam and things like that. There's a lot of variables involved, and labor is one of the biggest ones. And labor is becoming more expensive. So the cost of manufacturing for unskilled labor is rising and has risen very quickly in China over the last decade or so. Second is taxes. Taxes in China have never been cheap, but there seems to be provinces, cities, and districts that are happy to provide free trade zones and incentives to blunt the headline expenses. Please go back and watch our show on free trade zones. It's important here. And then shipping costs. For low margin, fast moving merchandise, it's also becoming very expensive. So what are your choices here? Move manufacturing closer to the point of sale? This sounds like something that a consultant might say, because the reality is all of your suppliers are in China as well. So picking up and moving your factory doesn't help when you have to move all your suppliers as well.
So take a little bit of look at the history. So you will see like the international company, especially like the US and the Europe company, are quite successful in China. They already highly participate into the China market. So they're really integrated in this market. So international companies not just make a profit from the China, and also contribute to the construction of the China. Right now is still the same question: how to make the cake get bigger, and how to split the cake. So all the countries really need to work together to make the cake get bigger or keep the current size. It's very, very difficult. Even they work together very well, they cooperate very well, they may or may not to keep the current cake size. Business leader or expert really need to stand out to give some educations to other people.
Yeah, well, the consumer does have the choice at the end of the day to support your product or not support your product. And they may support your product for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, but it doesn't matter because the consumer is going to make the decision. So if you're a big US brand and you're being targeted online, you may make the decision your new factories are not going to be in China. That's absolutely a decision you can make. And then on the mainland, you may have your factories serve the local market. So you may build factories that are closer to your consumer. And just to say, if you want to put a factory outside of China and then sell into China, that can get very, very expensive because there's import tax, there's tariffs. Those are real expenses that manufacturers are considering right now.
So as small people to start initiate the political campaign and the other people suffer the consequences is really unfair.
The smallest amount of people make the loudest noise. So I do see that the online hate is coming for a lot of foreign brands. Brands are disappearing online. You can't find an H&M store on an online app in China. And that's not just the people online. That's supported by something bigger than just people online.
The leaders really should solve this problem globally and try to keep the stable global market and operation environment. Otherwise, if they keep adding uncertainty in this market, that's a very significant hurt most of the people.
Yeah, and that's definitely a risk factor for a lot of these brands. But you know, solving this problem is long dated and complicated. It's not an easy product. It's not an easy problem because there's two different ideologies, and you know, those two ideologies, they can cooperate, but they are not going to agree on some basic fundamentals, and that's where we're finding these brands are wading into that territory, which is difficult for them.
That's true. So I think that is the fact in the current situation, and that also could, if it gets worse, it could lead a big crash of the stock market or even the bond market. So nobody really knows. But I also see a lot of the investment models didn't include or systematically include the political risk. And they don't know how to identify this risk, how to measure this kind of risk. Obviously, if this happens, they just simply call a black swan.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Everybody gets hit the same. So
yeah, like I said, people really need to stand out, tell other non-experts and the noise guys what's the good way to do the things.
yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning into show E. And this is our 5th show broken out into 4 sections. Hope you watch all of those sections and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please reach out to us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, how we can change things, how we can reach you, how we can reach a broader audience. Thanks again for tuning in.
Thank you.